Tougaloo. Thank you both for allowing me to be part of today's program. To make an announcement that I think is very fitting. In fact, on the holiday celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth and life and service, it's altogether fitting and proper that we formally announce another historic celebration. This spring will be 50 years since the first of a series of what would come to be known as the Freedom Rides took place. Starting in May of 1961, hundreds of people, mostly young, rode buses into Mississippi coming from all over the country, but including young people from the south of Mississippi itself. Tougaloo served as their base of operation in 1961. Today we are announcing that Mississippi will officially commemorate this momentous time in our state's and nation's history with the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Freedom Rides and the Freedom Summer of 1961, a celebration dedicated to reconciliation and remembrance. It's well known that Mississippi did not exactly welcome the Freedom Riders 50 years ago. But today, as governor, I am proud to serve as the host of several days of celebration that will begin on May the 22nd of 2011. Hank Thomas of Atlanta, a Freedom Rider himself, is the national chairman of the event, and Dr. Leslie McLemore is the state chairman. They and their leadership committee have been working on this for nearly 2 years, finding Freedom Riders, starting with Congressman John Lewis of Georgia, who is the honorary chairman of the celebration, along with Congressman Bob Filner of California, also a Freedom Rider. The leadership team, headed by former Mississippi Supreme Court Justice Reuben Anderson, has found and contacted 165 of the original Freedom Riders, and about 125 of them are currently planning to attend. Justice Anderson was a student at Tougaloo when the Freedom Riders headquartered there. All of you know Justice Anderson as the first African-American Mississippi State Supreme Court Justice, but for me, as a young lawyer, he was the circuit judge, the trial court judge, before whom I practiced, and from whom I learned a lot and looked to often for guidance. In fact, I still do today. We hope our celebration of the 1961 Freedom Riders will spur a national remembrance of one of the key campaigns of the Civil Rights Movement. While it may not have seemed so at the time to the Freedom Riders themselves, who were mistreated, beaten, jailed, some of them even sent to the state penitentiary Parchman, their effort was part of an irresistible tide that inevitably led to the end of the jury segregation. A lot of reprehensible things took place between the advent of the Freedom Rides in 1961 and the enactment of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the final integration of the bulk of Mississippi's public schools. Deplorable acts include the murder of innocent people, young men in service to a cause that was right, will always be a stain on our history. And school integration didn't put an end to racial problems or prejudice. However, the 100+ Freedom Riders participating in the 2011 celebration will find Mississippi an enormously changed state as to race relations. First, they get thrown in parts when they're getting invited to the governor's mansion. They'll be welcomed with parades, concerts, parties. There will be lectures and remembrances. And believe it or not, many of the Freedom Riders actually requested a chance to visit Parchman, which I'm proud to say they will find has changed tremendously. In fact, Governing Magazine recently singled out Mississippi's Department of Corrections as the model for reform of state penal systems. Some of you may be surprised that a conservative Republican government would play a leading role in celebrating this event of the Civil Rights Movement. But the fundamental founding principle of the Republican Party was freedom. Some of us working on this event may have different views of which government policies and programs work, or which we'd be better off without. But no believer in freedom can defend segregation as acceptable to those who believe our Creator endowed us with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Hence, everybody in Mississippi should welcome this celebration. Seeing the manifestations of progress and racial reconciliation makes me more proud of Mississippi. The more African American elected officials in any other state in the country, virtually universal voter registration, regardless of race, a long list of outstanding African American former and current judges, elected officials, and appointed officials, including a presidential cabinet member. Mississippi has rising incomes and increased skills in our workforce. Now, none of this means that we don't have problems, because we do. Incredibly high illegitimacy rates that create difficult obstacles for those children. Schools that are improving but not fast enough. And the results of those facts are per capita income that's rising, but still the lowest in the country. High rates of incarceration, too many low birth and sick babies. So as we announce this celebration to be held in May, we do so proud of the progress made since these courageous young people came to Mississippi 50 years ago. But we are also aware of how far we have to go on many fronts. And that our pursuit of freedom for all our brethren is both intended by God and in need of pursuit, not just in our state, but across our great country. America will always have room for improvement, but remains, as Abraham Lincoln said, the last best hope of earth, the greatest, most free country ever to exist. Thank you. We hope that you will mark your calendar and plan to participate in our Freedom Riders celebration beginning May the 22nd. Dr. Perry, Dr. Hogan, thank you both very much for letting us make this announcement here at this very fitting celebration. Thank you all very much.